Supposed to climb. Local beaches should be jammed. Our weather expert, Walter Cronice, will have the local forecast later on his watch. The Miami City. The Capitol building thing. This is not going to be one of my usual anti-Republican, anti-conservative attacks. If it was, I wouldn't tell you nothing. I would just do my thing. So this is not for that purpose. This is kind of like a heads up. Both sides of this red versus blue war needs to know that there are people among you who are asking for no good. Let me play this clip from Ronald Reagan to let you see what my aim is. And it's just about 3 minutes long. The man said, up or down.
You and I are told increasingly we have to choose between a left or right. Well, I'd like to suggest there is no such thing as a left or right. There's only an up or down. Man's old age dream, the ultimate in individual freedom consistent with law and order, or down to the ant-heap of totalitarianism. And regardless of their sincerity, their humanitarian motives, those who would trade our freedom for security have embarked on this downward course. In this vote harvesting time, they use terms like the Great Society, or as we were told a few days ago by the President, we must accept a greater government activity in the affairs of the people. But they've been a little more explicit in the past, and among themselves, and all of the things I now will quote have appeared in print. These are not Republican accusations. For example, they have voices that say the Cold War will end through our acceptance of a not undemocratic socialism. Another voice says the profit motive has become outmoded. It must be replaced by the incentives of the welfare state. Or our traditional system of individual freedom is incapable of solving the complex problems of the 20th century. Senator Fulbright has said at Stanford University that the Constitution is outmoded. He referred to the President as our moral teacher and our leader. And he says he is hobbled in his task by the restrictions of power imposed on him by this antiquated document. He must be freed so that he can do for us what he knows is best. And Senator Clark of Pennsylvania, another articulate spokesman, defines liberalism as meeting the material needs of the masses through the full power of centralized government. Well, I, for one, resent it when a representative of the people refers to you and me, the free men and women of this country, as the masses. This is a term we haven't applied to ourselves in America. But beyond that, the full power of centralized government, this was the very thing the Founding Fathers sought to minimize. They knew that governments don't control things. A government can't control the economy without controlling people. And they know when a government sets out to do that, it must use force and coercion to achieve its purpose.
Now, for maybe a year, I've been talking about these words, these descriptions: capitalism, capitalist, the establishment, the deep state, corporate. These are words being floated into the atmosphere, mostly by people who are on the left, but not entirely. It's been coming from both sides. Big tech is being added in the list of words these days, especially after the Capitol building thing. The big reset. These words, these descriptions. And after the 20th of January, you'll see more and more people using these words. And all these words will be being used to usher in what's sometimes described as slavery by consent. These words I've been speaking against. I've been speaking against them not just because, it makes no sense, but because I don't think people fully understand what they're asking for, which is for the government to own all.
No. That's a BS politician move. Bait and switch, not good. Look, I remember the Democrats explicitly saying, vote for us, we're going to give you a $2,000 check. Well, people did. We won because of it, okay? And it was something that even had Republicans on board. And yet, didn't happen. And here's the thing, too. There's no reason that we can't do that. Again, Republicans cannot stop us from passing a $2,000 stimulus check. Bernie Sanders is the head of the Budget Committee. He can do this through a process called budget reconciliation. He doesn't have to have additional Republican votes. Could do that through a simple majority, but they refuse to do that. The Democrats have to shoot themselves in the foot with some technocratic nonsense in order to, of course, try to appeal to Republicans. I mean, and here's the other thing. Like, I don't personally need that. This isn't for me. I'm doing fine. I'm doing okay. All right. But what about the American people who are not doing okay? There are millions of people out there that are struggling that $1,400 or just $2,000. And remember, that's a compromise. $2,000 is a compromise.
And of course, this slavery by consent, it will be under the guise of helping the poor or protecting the working class. His name is Waldorf. The people will consent to this after begging for it, demanding it. A lot of people will be throwing these words around just because it's trendy, not fully realizing what spirit they're channeling. And what I mean by channeling spirits, like take Joe Biden's 1995 crime bill that he authored. The people hollering for help. Help us against this evil. And as a result, you got your crime bill. But these words, basically saying, look, we don't want individuals to be the greedy ones. We want the government to be that. You'll have the government as the establishment, corporate, big tech oligarchs instead of individuals as it is now. The antitrust laws that basically means to stop big companies from becoming too big. Antitrust laws are laws against monopolies. And obviously, those laws have failed and never worked to begin with. Why? Well, because how do you put antitrust on people's choices? The things we like, the things we gravitate to the most, like when we shop, big stores with bright lights, sites we go to first, like Facebook or YouTube. We grow these companies. There will be no getting rid of the poor or making being poor a thing of the past. Impossible. As I've said before, even in the strictest of communist, fascist, Marxist countries, you still had the filthy rich looking down on poor people and doing everything they can to keep them down there. Waldorf Nation, he's partnered up with the Young Turks who really press this anti-capitalism trick. Waldorf titled one of his recent videos, "Capitalism Rejects Trump as His Brand Turns Toxic." See, that's the kind of stuff you'll see grow. How he threw capitalism up there as the boogeyman we need the government to protect us from. When Reagan said, regardless of their sincerity, humanitarian motives, those who trade our freedom for security have embarked on this downward course, it was his way of putting what Benjamin Franklin said, which was, those who give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety.
Really, honestly, I think the American people should have received $2,000 monthly payments retroactive to the start of the pandemic. They can do that now. They have the power to do that now, but they won't because they're agreeing with the Republicans. They're agreeing with people like Joe Manchin, who say that, oh, no, why should rich people get $2,000 a month? Why should we do that? Well, here's the thing about that. And Mitch McConnell was making that same argument against the one-time $2,000 check. Oh, rich people are going to get it. And here's the thing. You can just tax that back. If a rich person, if Jeff Bezos receives a $2,000 check for the next 6 months from the government, you know what the government can do? They can tax $2,000 back from Amazon. That's how that works. If somebody who doesn't currently need the money gets the money, you just tax it. It's not like there's not a finite supply of, or it's not that there isn't there's a finite supply of money, okay? The Federal Reserve can print it from thin air, literally. Money printer go burr.
A finite supply of money. Unlimited money, he meant. Out of thin air, he said. Now, I understand what he meant in a literal sense. Money does just come rolling off the press. However, there's a debt that comes with that. A debt that is held by the establishment, big tech, oligarch, corporate, deep state people. So again, this is just a heads up. It's not going to be by force. We're going to ask for it. It is not just one side asking for this either. By consent. They're not going to need to do it at gunpoint. The guns will only come out after people have got what we asked for and realized how we should have been careful what we asked for. Then we're going to want to rebel. Then the guns will come out when it's time for them to tell us, too late, you asked for it.